The inflation rate in Venezuela is 2,719%.
Boy, it does suck to live in Venezuela. I wonder why their inflation rate is 279%. I wonder.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
My thing paused. I didn't know if it was the internet.
Oh. Do you want to go back a second?
Capitalist behemoth that has been trying to fuck over that socialist country because they actually take care of their people and lift them out of poverty. And as we all know, the mission of the United States military is to make sure no socialist government ever is successful in South America or Central America. And I know that, but I guess the guy from HBO doesn't know that and doesn't know why they're having such problems in Venezuela. Okay, it's because the capitalists, which run our government, have been fucking over that country economically ever since they became socialists.
I don't understand. I don't understand. Like, why would we spend so much time in Afghanistan if we wanted to see places fail? If our ultimate goal was to just see places fail economically, why did we dump so much time and resources into Afghanistan?
But, well, I'm assuming he would say, oh, it's not that America wants to see places fail. They just want to see places become. I'm assuming his logic is this. America, the evil capitalists that run America, want to exploit all these countries for resources, as America has done in the past. Mm-hmm. And thus, if you have some socialist government, the socialist government is not going to allow America to exploit resources from them. And so, therefore, vis-a-vis the American government comes in and prevents socialist governments so that our private business owners can come in and, buy up all the resources, right. Blah, 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 as we used to, like in the 50s and 60s, or the early 1900s, I guess, really.
Well, the problem with Venezuela, which I'm super acquainted with, was the price of oil dropped. So they didn't.
And whose fault was that? Was that America's fault?
What? Right. So basically, all of Venezuela's economy was run on exporting oil. So if the price of oil is super high, you can export a bunch of oil, get yourself a bunch of dollars, and turn those dollars into food, resources, all kinds of good stuff that you can just, give out to your people as much as you want, right? You're just pumping the oil out of the ground, selling it on the market, taking the money, and buying imports, right? Mm-hmm. What happens when the price of oil drops, Sitch? Tell me how that economy runs as soon as the price of oil is cut in half. What happens?
Well, actually, what happens is if your entire country relies on exports and that export drops, then you're kind of fucked.
Yes. So all of a sudden, so the money that you're getting from that export, you're getting half that amount of money.
Right.
Now, does everybody on the international market for the imports that you're buying, their exports, do they give you a 50% discount because the price of oil dropped? No, you get half the stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
But no, you don't understand, Adam. Okay. This is all a conspiracy.
We did this? We did this?
The American military industrial complex, which is completely primary reason for existing, is stomping out evil socialist countries in North and South and Central America because we're so focused on exploiting these countries for resources.
Somebody look up fucking Jimmy Dore talking about how we need to get energy independent because Jimmy Dore is like, we don't want to buy fucking oil from Venezuela, even though the only thing that's keeping them afloat is us buying their fucking oil.
Right. When do you think that Mr. Environmentalist, Mr. Global Warming is going to doom our planet? Jimmy Dore thinks we should cut back on oil and gas usage coming from Venezuela and other countries.
It's like, come on, Jimmy, what are we supposed to do with global warming? Or are we supposed to keep buying oil from Venezuela?
I mean, but they're a socialist government, Adam. They have to be an example. We have to prop them up.
See, what they didn't do.
They can't ever fail. I mean, wasn't this a big part of the book you're reading? That there's like a million reasons.
Hell yeah, it is.
There's always reasons for why Venezuela had all these problems, but all they do is they point. Whenever a socialist country fails, it's always someone else's fault. It's always America's fault. It's always some external source. It's always something. It can't ever be socialism.
We always talk about how the American government can't do anything right, okay? It's pretty fucking easy to dig a hole in the ground and pump crude oil out, fill up barrels and fucking sell it, right?
Right.
Like any idiot can do that. So they're making all of this money doing what any idiot can do, right? And instead of using that money to build businesses that are actually producing the things that they're importing, paying for, if they built businesses actually growing their own food there, they wouldn't need to import the food, right? Problem solved.
Right.
But no, they have all this money. They're going to dump it into co-ops. They get this idea that the government is spending money because they want to teach people about socialism. So they start giving out money for people to start worker co-ops. This is all laid out in the book. As soon as the co-ops actually start producing stuff that people actually want, the good old-fashioned capitalism kicks in, and the people don't really want to be socialists. Like, they don't want to invite new people into the co-ops. They ask about selling the stuff on the open market because, well, we can get more money if we sell it to France than if we sell it here. Everybody here is poor. It's like, none of this socialist stuff works. It's like Venezuela is a perfect example of how none of this socialist stuff works.
Right. So basically what happened was Venezuela had a very valuable resource, oil.
Yes.
And they made a bunch of money from it. But instead of putting that money back into creating infrastructure that would allow the country to diversify outside of oil, they instead tried to actualize a lot of socialist policies, which ended up backfiring because it turns out that a lot of these policies could only exist if they were subsidized directly by the government. And the government can only be subsidized if they can sell oil at some high price per barrel.
Right. And have a surplus of money based on this easy money. They basically found it in the ground. Instead of building an economy that produces things in-house. So they're not at the whim of the global markets. They didn't do any of that. A total waste. Waste. They had an opportunity to build their own economy, and they wasted it on socialism. But Jimmy Dore doesn't want,
No.
Jimmy Dore won't tell you any of that.
No.
It's America's fault.
Well, it's funny because he never actually explains anything. Like, how is it America's fault? What did America do that destroyed Venezuela, Jimmy? Is that important to your narrative? Or is his audience so stupid that he can just go on these tirades of saying these very vague general claims, and they all just go, yep, America, it's America bad. Yep. Well, though I guess technically, Adam, if you think about it, it is America's fault. Okay, maybe Jimmy Dore knows the 10D chess here. Okay. You see, the reason the price of gas went down is because our good friends, Saudi Arabia and OPEC, or whatever they're called nowadays, I think it was specifically Saudi Arabia, actually, decided to drastically lower the cost of oil per barrel. And do you know why they did that?
Did they really? This happened? OPEC stepped in?
I don't know if it was OPEC. I think it might have been Saudi Arabia on their own.
And this is why the price of oil dropped in Venezuela? Oh, my God.
And you know why they did that?
Why?
Because they were trying to fuck over America. Because America was making all this money and being self-sufficient via fracking. But fracking is only, or at least at the time that this was happening, was only financially stable if oil was some price per barrel. So basically, Saudi Arabia was trying to
put us out
America.
of business. Hilarious.
So I guess technically it is America's fault in some bizarre roundabout way.
It's so we have done a great job of becoming more energy self-sufficient because we don't want these other countries screwing around with us in the same way that Venezuela should be doing that when they're like, okay, the easy money's coming now, but we should be getting ready for when that easy money is no longer available. We do that. I think, didn't Trump famously top off our oil reserves because oil dropped super cheap, and he's like, fill her up. He's like, we got some holes in the ground, just pump that shit in. We were buying all that cheap Venezuelan oil. Hell yeah, we'll take it.
Yeah, it's hilarious. Jimmy Dore. Oh my God. Jimmy Dore's very own Dore, right here in our chat. For $20 says, someone left his keys inside and locked himself out, and he didn't want to contribute to capitalism. So now I don't shut right. You know what? It was probably America's fault. I think the industrial military complex brainwashed Jimmy Dore while he was sleeping into forgetting the keys to his own house.
He jimmied his own door.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Jimmied his own door.
Dun, dun, dun.
That's why, again, Bill doesn't know his asshole from a hole in the ground and thinks we should look at other countries which we destroyed and think that we should feel better back here at home.
The real question is,
as they do this.
the real question is there oil in that hole in the ground? That's what we really want to know.
The irony, he keeps saying, Bill Maher doesn't know anything. And he's literally sitting here just regurgitating the most mind-numbingly stupid leftist socialist talking points.